All right, y'all, for today, we are going to start looking at something called cryptography. Cryptography, by definition, is the art of writing or solving codes. Cryptography is something that's been around for a long, long time, even back as far as Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great would use cryptography to send messages to his generals that were coded in some way, shape, or form, so that if they ever got in the wrong hands, nobody would have any idea what his plans were. It would just look like a bunch of jumbled up nonsense. We are going to look at other ways to do some cryptography, some very basic ways by today's standards. Cryptography is a very, very complex thing. It's code breaking. Anytime somebody hacks into a computer, or if you buy something online and all of your data is secure and protected, it's all done with cryptography. It takes a bunch of numbers and letters and rearranges them using some formula, sends them to your bank, and then it kind of decodes them that way. So the one that we're going to look at is we're going to look at something simple. So what we can see here is I've assigned the letters A through Z a corresponding number. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, etc., 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 all the way down to Z being 26. Now, because we're dealing with words and phrases, we're going to have spaces. Spaces, we're just going to assign those the number 0. It needs a placeholder because we're going to be creating these matrices based upon some word, some phrase, some arrangement. So I'm going to use this phrase, O kills. Okay, so you can see here I've got O kills sped out, and I'm going to assign each letter a numerical value. So using that chart above, O would be 15, A is 1, K is 11. Let me do it this way, 15, 1, 11. Now here I've got my space. So my space is a 0, 8, 9, 12, 12, 19. So you can see here that counting that space, I have exactly 9 characters. Creating a matrix with 9 characters sounds like it'd be a great 3x3. So I'm going to create a 3x3 matrix using these numbers. So the 3x3 matrix that I'm going to create, and I'm going to type this in my calculator also in a second. So my 3x3 matrix is going to look like 15, 1, 11, 0, 8, 9, 12, 12, 19. That's what happens when I take those letters from O kills and arrange it just into numerical value. O, A, K, space, H, I, L, L, S. So you can see here's our setup. So O kills, that's the message that I want to send to somebody. Now, before I send this message to somebody, I need to figure out a way to code this message. So the way that I'm going to code this is I'm going to create a random 3x3 matrix. The only thing that matters with the random 3x3 matrix is that it must have an inverse. Now, we don't really care what that inverse is. Oftentimes, these inverses are going to be really nasty numbers, decimals, and whatnot. That's fine. We're not going to be doing any calculations with the inverse itself, so it doesn't matter how ugly and nasty those numbers are, just that the inverse does exist. So the key message, or the key matrix that I'm going to use for my encoding, and like I said, this is just a completely random one that I came up with. So, and of course, I'm going to call it my key. And like I said, it's a 3x3 matrix. And I'm going to use 3, 0, 6, -1, 5, 8, 8, 3, -2. Again, this 3x3 matrix, it's completely random. I just picked numbers as I went along. I typed in my calculator, made sure it had an inverse, and that's where I came up with this one from. You can see that I used a mixture of positive and negative numbers, and I also threw 0 in there. So let me insert that. All right, so here we go. So now that I've got this message that I want to send to somebody, and I've got the key, I've got the way I'm going to encode it. So encoding this message is going to be really, really simple. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take my key times my message, and I'm going to get my code. So you have to make sure you do this in the right order, because to decode it, we're going to have to kind of undo what we're doing. So remember multiplying matrices, I've got a 3x3 for my key times a 3x3 for my message, which we know that we can multiply those two together. So I know my code is then also going to be a 3x3. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let my calculator do all that work. So let me turn it on. So let's go to the matrix. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create my 3x3 code. So my 3x3 code, I've already got it typed in here. 306 -1 5 8 8 3 -2. So that is just going to be my key. All right. Then I'm going to create my second matrix, which is going to be my kills and numbers. So you can see that's already typed out here as well. 15, 1, 11, 0, 8, 9, 12, 12, 19. So I've got my key, I've got the message. So now I'm going to encrypt this. So I'm going to take my key times my message, and I'm going to get some other matrix. So here's that matrix. This matrix is my code. So let me take a screenshot of that. And let's enter that in right here. Oh, wrong one. Let's go ahead and put that on the desktop. All right, so there it is. So there is my code. So Alexander the Great, he would give that key, that matrix that we use to encode the message to one of his couriers, as well as this coded message. He would send it out to his generals. His generals would know how to decode it. So now that we have our code, and now that we have our key, let's look and see how we would go about then decoding our message. Okay, so now to decode this, I have to take my coded matrix, and I'm going to enter that in my calculator. So I'm going to just call this matrix, and I'm going to actually overwrite my code. So I'm going to take this 3x3 where I typed in my kills, and I'm actually going to get rid of that. I'm going to keep it as a 3x3 matrix, but I'm going to enter in my new values. So 117, 75, 147, 81, 135, 186, 96, 8, 77. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to call up my key. Now, if you think about this, I multiplied the key times my message to get my code. So now I'm going to take my code and I'm going to multiply it by the opposite of my key, or in this case, the inverse of my key. So I'm going to do the inverse of my key times my code. And that should give us our kills matrix. 15, 1, 11, OAK, space, HILLS. So that's a quick little rundown for how this works. Now, I know it seems kind of pointless because we just went in one big circle, but the benefit to it is if we look at something like this next one, to where I've given you the key and the message. You have to decode it. Now, for this one, we will do it together because we can see that this one's a little bit longer of a message than the previous one. But again, you have your key here that I gave you. You have this message also that I gave you, and we are going to go ahead and see if we can't decode what that message says. So again, the nice thing is this is just something we're going to type in the calculator. You just have to make sure that when you do this, though, you've got your matrices in the correct order. Okay, so again, some random key, some message, and let's go ahead and break this down and see what the secret message is. So for my matrix, I'm going to create all new matrices. So I'm going to create that new key. This new key is also a 3x3. This new key is going to be the values of, so this new key is 0, 4, -7, 0, 4, -7, 6, 3, 8, and I lost my matrix. Sorry, a little technical glitch. So let's see here. This key matrix 0, 4, -7, 6, 3, 8, -2, 1, -9. So this was the key. This is what we used to create our code. And now I'm going to enter in my code. My coded message this time. Now if you pay attention to the dimensions of this one, this is a 3 by 5. So -101, 27, -65, -133, 72, 219, 168, 127, 152, 72, -166, -51, -106, -171, 12. So here's our code. Now to decode this, what we're going to do is we're going to take our key, which is that 3 by 3, inverse, times our coded matrix. So this matrix right here, and you can see that, it's quite lengthy. So the numbers for our coded matrix are going to be 16, 18, 5, 0. So here's a space. 3, 1, 12, 3, space. 18, 15, 3, 11, 19. And you can see that because I kind of ended it short, I need another character. I need a 15th character, so I'm using the 0 here as kind of a placeholder. So let's go ahead and save this one. Let's screenshot this so we can break it down. Insert image. So then if we look at our A equals 1, B equals 2, etc., etc., if we look at our letters, we get P, R, E, space, C, A, L, C, space, R, O, C, K, S. Pre-calc rocks. So, miss y'all. Hope everything's doing all right. Hopefully everyone's staying healthy and staying indoors. There is one of these for you to try in our Google Form. So I'll share that with you in our Google Classroom here in just a little bit. These are a little weird. I know I kind of stumbled through some parts on this video. Some things technology-wise weren't working out for me, but we got through it. I'm going to, in our Google form, I'm going to give you the key. I'm going to give you the message. You just have to simply use the inverse to decode it. And then your answer is just going to be what that decoded message is. We're going to be doing this for the rest of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You all will be getting to the point where you create your own. But this is just, like I said, just something a little different, something a little applicable for you. So like I said, I'm trying to, not just give you Edulastic all day, every day. So, take care. If you need anything, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you all later.